Children, hope you people are doing well. Let us start with the fifth unit, social issues. Today we will start with the A part, the storied house. Now before we start with the lesson, let us go have a look at the objectives. After reading this lesson, you will be able to understand how casteism is still affecting the life of people in the rural areas. Explain the evils of casteism. Find relationship between the people of low caste and high caste. Note how the oppressed family determines to fulfill the father's wish. See how there is awareness about injustice and it. So let us start with our lesson now. Written by Vaman Govind Hovel. Now, Vaman Govind Hovel writers for his concern for Dalits who are the victims of social injustice. Hovel's short story, The Storied House, is a powerful symbol of Dalit awakening in India. This story portrays the worst scene of the caste system but a powerful enrichment of Dalits from nowhere, a view of hope prevailing within them. It contributes greatly to the dynamic of Dalit emancipation. It tells us the heartrending story of Bayaji. Bayaji belongs to Mahar, a Dalit community of Maharashtra. He had embraced Buddhism to escape the suffering of untouchability. Bayaji had worked honestly for a period of 35 years in the dockyard and returned from his service. He had crossed 60 but was in sound health. His body was very strong. After his retirement, Bayaji returned to his native village, wishing to spend the rest of his life peacefully and comfortably with his family. He travelled by a bus to reach his village. There was something really wrong with the state transport bus. It had come the winding road in the mountain as if with a lifetime effort. The road was now downhill and yet the bus moved as slowly as a sick man walking with the help of another. It reached the plain where the dispensary building was situated and stood still like an obstinate bull. Now the destination was hardly a mile or two away, but the driver was sore and the conductor had no option but to be silent. When they realized that the bus wouldn't move any faster, a couple of passengers explained, "God damn it for a bloody nuisance." The conductor asked the passengers to get down and they all put their strength together to push the bus. Having gained this initial momentum, the bus started. Passengers clambered up, jostling one another. The conductor rang the bell and the bus gradually took on speed. It entered the village reluctantly like a taunt child being dragged to school. As it wound its way through the curves on the outskirts, it groaned and croaked like a hen about to lay eggs, and stopped with a big bang in front of Bujaba Patil's residence. As it halted, it gave a big lurch, sending the passengers helter-skelter, curled like water in the pitcher when the carrier stumbles. So in this passage, children, you have seen that there are a number of examples of metaphor. Now what is a metaphor? Metaphor is a figure of speech which shows indirect comparison between two things. Here in this passage you can see the bus is compared to a number of things like an obstinate bull, like a child being dragged to school, like a hen who is laying about the eggs, as well as to the water who in the pitcher. All the passengers got down. The coolie put his hand on a huge wooden box and shouted, "Whose box is this?" Bayaji, who was brushing away the dust from his body, answered, "Oh, it's mine. Please lower it down." Bayaji had packed his entire household goods in the box. There was no longer any reason to hang around in Bombay. He had worked honestly for the past 35 years in the dockyard and had retired from his service 2 months before. Not that he held an important position, he had merely got an extension for 2 years. During that period, he had become supervisor. Otherwise, his entire life had been spent lifting heavy loads. He had worked very hard whenever he could, day and night. The coolie heaved and grunted as he lowered the box, which Bayaji caught with ease and began to walk towards his house. He paid 15 paisa to the coolie, put the box in which he had thrown pots and pans and sundry other things on his own head and began to walk in the direction of his house. As he reached Kadam's house, he saw Bujaba coming towards him. Bujaba was a known rascal of the village. Bayaji balanced the burden on his head. Straightening his neck, he said, "Greetings to you, sir. How are the things with you?" Bayaji was Mahar by caste, and according to the old customs, he should have greeted Bujaba with, "My humble salutations to you, sir, who are my father and mother." So when Bayaji merely said greeting, Bujaba became furious and said, "Do you think you can become a Brahmin merely by saying greetings? Can you forget your position simply because you have turned a Buddhist?" Bayaji was confused and thought of knocking Bujaba down with his box, but he could not do, as he had come back to his village to spend the rest of his life there. He thought that it was not a good policy to incur the hostility of anyone in the village. He told Bujaba in a meek tone that he came to the village to stay there till the end of his life. He also told that his service was over. He had turned 60. Bujaba asked him greedily how much fund amount he had collected, and Bayaji replied that it was some 2,500 rupees. Bujaba wanted to swindle 400 or 500 rupees from Bayaji. So, changing his tone, "Bayaji, you have a heavy load on your head. Go to your house first. We will talk at leisure time," Bujaba said in mock sympathy. And Bujaba entered his house while Bayaji continued his journey towards his house. So children, we will stop here and continue our lesson in our next session. Till then, thank you.